Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Elina from Leaves Eyes to talk about their upcoming new record, The Last Viking, out October 23rd on AFM Records. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. Thanks for taking the time to chat with me about the new album. I'm sure you're excited. It's just around the corner. I'm sure you're counting the days.
Yeah, my pleasure. It definitely is. I mean, it's a kind of privilege to be able to make a record at this time now with all the difficulties. So, yes.
So let me ask you first off, why this concept? Why this record? How did you guys all work out the idea that this would be the next album for Leaves Eyes? Talking about King Harold III.
Well, I think Alex had the idea already at the end of the previous record, Sign of the Dragonhead. There was this last song called Waves of Euphoria that already hinted what's coming. And I remember when we were finishing that record that he told me that, okay, well, told us that, okay, the next one is going to be The Last Viking and it's going to be about this and this and this. So it was already decided quite a long time ago.
Are you a big fan of the whole Viking theme? Like, do you feel like that is a little bit of a part of you, even if it's a very little part of who you are?
Well, I mean, I can't say that it is. I mean, of course, I came into it coming into Leaves Eyes in the band, and now I've gotten to know a little bit about it. And of course, I'm interested in history in every way, but it's this whole world, and it's very interesting. And I've got a lot of friends through there, all the Vikings and people we meet all over the world, and that's been a great part of it. But I mean, yeah, it wasn't like in my blood before.
Yeah, you were not dressing like Largatha and going out pillaging.
Well, no, I get to do that on the videos a little.
Yeah, on the videos, yes.
That's cool.
Yeah, you get to exercise a little bit of that fantasy world when you guys are shooting the videos.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cool to be able to play a character as well as, you know, being the singer. And yeah, I was like I did now as well on the new video, Chain of the Golden Horn. So it was really fun.
Let me ask you this about the record. How do you guys sit down and start working on an album like this? Like, what's a little bit of the creative process behind an album like The Last Viking?
Well, this would be a question definitely for Alex and Tosso. Alex is kind of behind of the concepts. He writes the lyrics, he researches a lot and kind of makes the whole concept idea. And then Tosso usually music, he's the guitarist, obviously. And then we come together as well, of course, at some point, and we go through details to each instrument, for vocals, for drums, and then it kind of like piece by piece all comes together. And it's a very evolving process because right till the very last minute, there's always going to be some changes, some additions, some, you know, things that when someone comes in and plays an idea and then now we have to change something, and that's quite cool. So it's always a cool process.
Do you feel like the overall sound of this album is well defined, or better yet, how do you define the overall atmosphere now that you've had a chance to listen to the overall finished product?
Well, I mean, it's kind of cool because it's an epic concept, but it has these very different kind of sagas and stories. So the songs are quite varied within this epic sound. Of course, it's always the true sound of Leaves Eyes, let's say, symphonic, and there's some folky elements always and stuff like that. But there's still, I think, the songs are very individual also.
That was one of the things that I really found interesting with the overall record, is that exactly what you said. When you listen to the album, you feel like you're listening to a Leaves Eyes album, that without a doubt, but every song has a little bit of a different fingerprint to it. Does that help tell the story of each song, or is that a reason that derives from telling a different story in each song, that you have to change the sound a little bit in order to match that story a little bit better?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the whole idea with this record, that you know, we wanted to bring the element of different parts of world, let's say, for example. with these little spices here and there that you can hear. That this is from there, and this from Russia, or this is from, you know, from the Sicily, and and it was part of the whole process. And of course it ties together, but it kind of gave the perfect stage, let's say, to use all these different elements.
You mentioned a little bit of the folky elements. I love the fiddle and the Celtic horn that you guys used on the album. How do you feel about using those kind of elements inside of the songs in order to give a little bit of extra life to the songs?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys, obviously, they've been doing this for a long time, and they've always had that element in the music. And we've had some great musicians there, like this time as well. There was Nuka, harpa player, who came again and had some great ideas in the songs. And like you said, the fiddle and violin as well. So I think it's a great way of bringing all these little characters out as well for the individual songs, like in this record.
It almost brings the characters to life. It makes the story seem a little bit more real. Don't you see it that way?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's, yeah, you can kind of recognize it.
Yeah. Does that have an impact on your vocals, on the approach that you take with those songs? Because in some songs there's a little bit more of that medieval touch to it than others. There's some tracks that are more straightforward symphonic metal tracks. So how does that impact how you approach the track vocally?
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, it's you have the surrounding that you then you want to tell the story of that song, that story. So you have to try and adapt and tell that story. So yeah, of course, it changes the way I think and when I record.
How do you guys approach the vocals in general? Because it's not like this is a band where you're the only one singing, and therefore you only need to concentrate on your vocals, but you also have male harsh vocals coming in, so that there's this duality of aspects within the tracks. How do you guys define the workload in terms of what goes where, and what do we use on any given song?
Well, I think Alex is writing a lot of the vocal melodies, and he kind of decides a lot where, but it also depends on the music, because, you know, some parts are much more made for the growling and harsh vocals than and then the other way around. So it needs to fit, and also with the text, because sometimes it's just works better with a harsher vocal than with my vocal. And yeah, I mean, I think he's quite strict with the balance. He doesn't want to have too much of him in the actually. So that's also a thing, that it needs to be balanced. But I think it's a nice way to also have that difference of sounds there.
Do you do a lot of homework in terms of how you, like, in terms of the lyrics and how the songs are defined before you even go into the studio to record your vocal lines? Or do you allow yourself some room in the studio to kind of feel the organic flow of the song and then kind of go with it?
Well, the way the process has been now, it's been more the second version. You said that I mean, we go through, of course, the text, and sometimes we have to change some words because they don't really work, or whatever, and then also some melodies, and then we go into pretty small details of the vocal. I do always pilots first, so we see how it works. And then I go to record, and then we still try out some things often. It just ends up like that. So yeah, I mean, maybe it would be nice to have a little bit of more time. Maybe for the next record, I will ask if we can do it the other way around, and try, and if I can have a little bit more time with the text and with the songs myself. But I think both ways have their advantages.
Did you feel like there was a song on this album that gave you a little bit more of a hard time, that made you scratch your head a little bit and really dig deep inside?
I don't know. Maybe not a whole song, but there was definitely some bits in the songs that some of them were, a bit like, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist as well, and I want to have it the way I want to have it, and then sometimes it just doesn't happen, and then you have to try and try and try, and then at some point you have to be just happy with what you did. So yeah, but I wouldn't say there was anything like no, nothing like that that would have been like really, really bad or something. No.
I want to ask you about a couple of songs, and I want to actually get your thoughts on perhaps your favorite track on the album. But there's two songs that the moment I listened to the album, I knew I had to ask you about these two songs, and one of them is Black Butterfly. Having Clementine from Visions of Atlantis on that track really adds a different dynamic. And I thought this song was just, I mean, the original was incredible, but with this remake, you guys just like turned the knob all the way to 11, if you will. What was the idea behind bringing her in to redo this song? Because I thought you guys nailed it. Absolutely incredible track.
Oh, well, nice to hear that. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we were considering, first of all, which song would it be, which one we want to do with another artist. And then, well, Clementine was on our wish list, obviously, and it was like in these moments it was difficult to organize anything. So it was really lucky that she was able to travel and come and do the recordings. And we wanted someone who has a different voice from mine, and she definitely has, I think, very different character in the voice, which you mentioned that it kind of brings a very different element into the song. And I think it was quite cool how it then worked together at the end and blended together and kind of complemented.
Yeah, it totally brought the song to life. I felt like the two of you became this really interesting duet between the two of you, and like you said, because the vocals are different from both, it made the song have this incredible dynamic. You feel like you're going up and down, like almost like like you're flying through the air, almost like a black butterfly, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, that's nice to hear. I'm glad it had that impact.
Yeah, it was such a great song. Another one I want to mention to you is For Victory. I find that you guys created the perfect Viking anthem, like a real battle hymn. Like you listen to that song and you really want to go into battle for whatever reason. You just want to, you feel energized. What are your thoughts about that track, For Victory?
Yeah, that's actually interesting because that was actually kind of original idea was Alex's idea, this song, and I heard a very early stage demo of it, and to me it reminded me of like, I don't know, Mötley Crüe or Motorhead or something, like very, very different kind of vibe. And I really liked the guitars, what they were doing there and everything. I really liked it. And I also did some crazy ad-lib audible. They're quite quiet, but like it was really fun track to record. So I remember that as well. And it was kind of like it stood out for me as well.
Yeah, it has a more pure rock driven vibe, but that's what gives the song a little bit of an edge. You know, it makes it sound Viking.
Yeah, you're right.
When I was listening to the album, I was like, oh, when you guys get to go back on the road and play shows, you have to include this song on the set list because it's the perfect live track. We'll get everybody so excited and so energized.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll play it live. I'm sure.
Do you have any favorite track on this album? I know that's a hard question to ask because when you go through the process of creating a record like this, I'm sure they're all your favorites. But is there one that stands out?
Yeah, that is difficult because I guess for me it's like I didn't play them live yet, so it's me sometimes also something I like to listen to is not always the one that I like to perform, if that makes sense. Sometimes it can be other way around or whatever. But of course now we did the music videos, and I definitely enjoyed singing the Dark Club Empress. It was a little bit more ballady, but I to be honest, I enjoy the other ones like as well, like the Flames in the Sky also, and Serpents and Dragons. I like the more power metal-y vibe of
more driven vibe.
Yeah. So yeah, difficult to say.
You mentioned the music videos. Is that something that you enjoy? In what part do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy singing the songs in the videos, or being the character that you become in the video? So it's like, you prefer the singing, or do you prefer the acting?
Yeah, I don't know. I like both. That's the best thing because you get to do both. So I really like that. Even with my own band as well, I did some acting in the videos before, and I really like it. It's kind of because then you get to bring the story to life in a different way, not only through the music, but also kind of a little bit as a character. So
Hmm. Through
yeah,
the visuals. It's not just the music and the lyrics, it's the visuals.
yeah, yeah.
I have one last question for you, and that is, now that the album is just around the corner, I mean, October 23rd is just a couple of weeks away. What is that, in all the experience and all the things that went through creating this album, what is the thing that you're going to take away to future records, to future things that you will do from this album? What did you learn with this record that you will take with you going forward?
Yeah, that's hard to say. I mean, like for me personally, I always want to move forward. I want to do more. I want to, develop and try new things. So, of course, that's what I hope that will be also in the future, that we get to experiment even more and try out some other stuff. And who knows? So, yeah, but that would be great.
Well, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with the release. Once again, The Last Viking comes out October 23rd on AFM Records. And Elina, thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks.